Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here. This time reviewing the final issue of Biff to the Future. Now, as you know, it follows the events of the second film, but this one has a slight modification. So it starts off how a team of people are like, "It's the most ridiculous idea I've ever heard. I mean, it's a joke, right? It could never happen. Not in a million years." And so all these people are saying this isn't a good idea. And turns out, in the year 1986, Biff Tannen is planning to run for president, saying, then, wrong minds think alike. I'll never take no answer for an answer. And since my pal Dick Nixon ain't gonna run for a fifth term in 2 years, I'm just the guy to replace him. And we see the CIA guy saying, nothing's impossible, nothing. And he points out how saying, you see, you need to be more and that. And he points out how he needs to be a legit businessman. And one of Biff's enforcers showed up saying, "Hey boss, I got some news from that shrink you flew in from Germany. Since when do I care about Kurt McGitz?" And he points out how they've managed to break through to Doc Brown. And we see the insane asylum where he says, they're all around us. Don't you understand? They're mutants in human form. Space zombies from Pluto. It started in my bomb back in 1955. Why won't you believe me? And surprisingly enough, this is the guy that mistook Marty and his time machine for alien invaders, where his son gave him a comic. That's a nice reference there. And he's like, "Whoa, this place is loony. I don't want to catch anything. So, could we just hurry? Right this way, Tannen." And he points out how he's managed to lock himself in a kind of trance, and that they need something that he loves to be threatened. And so he gets one of his enforcers to basically remake the dog pound and everything that. And he's like, "Boss, you feeling alright? I'm supposed to clean up my image. Well, people like dogs, so people like the president who likes dogs." And they said to find Doc Brown's dog at all costs. And meanwhile, Biff is sorting out the time machine, trying to figure out what it's meant to be. And you see Elaine saying, "Elaine, I told you I'd be right up, but if you're looking for a little action here, it's over, Biff. You ruined me. You ruined my family, and you ruined this town, and I'm not gonna let you ruin this country, Mr. Biff President, over my dead body." And so, just as she thinks Biff is dead, turns out he's used a book to shield himself. And he points out that, and she even points out how, like, Dave's a drunk, Linda's on her third divorce, and there's no idea where Marty is. And Biff Biff says, "You're wrong, Lorraine. I know where Marty is. I can have him here next week, as long as you behave. A week, you got exactly 1 week after that. All bets are off." And so Biff talks to his guy to help find Marty, and even points out how they could even have it look like an accident when, he becomes president. And turns out Dave is doing well in rehab, Linda is recovering, well, fumes are coming out, and pretty much Biff has managed to try and get Lorraine back. And we see Marty, who looks almost exactly the same, yet he should be a little different, saying, "Mum? Marty, you're back, you're back. All bets are still on, Miss Tannen." And so Lorraine and Marty are walking through the whole place, and to Marty's horror, everything's been destroyed, and he thinks that he should never have left. And you can understand how he feels. The neighborhood where he used to live has been turned into a slum, And even Molly has an idea about using Uncle Joey's rifle, but Lorraine says that they can't do that, and George wouldn't have wanted it. He said, and she even brings up George McFly's old motto, saying, "If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything." And so one of Biff's enforcers show up saying, "What's so urgent that I gotta pay admission to my own museum? We were refurbishing this exhibit, and I noticed something pretty weird. Check it out. Now, look closer, boss. The photo of my parents getting hit? What?" And so they see Doc Brown there. Yet, you'd think Doc Brown would have thought the consequences if, I don't know, this picture got taken or something. And so, Biff manages to put two together, realises that the sports on the mag is from the future. And you got a nice little portrait of Donald Trump there. And he's like, "It's a time machine! Doc Brown invented a time machine? Doc, you don't know it yet, but your invention is gonna make me president of the world!" And so they managed to... And so, pretty much, 1 week later, we see the German doctor saying, "Be very careful. The patient is very pleased. You are released from the restraints. Now let your mind and body wander against the animals." And Doc sees, like, Einstein. He's like, "Great Scott! Einie! It's you! Hello, old boy. Did you miss me? Because I've certainly missed you." And Biff talks to one of his the dog handlers, pointing out that they need to make sure nothing happens to the dog. And meanwhile, turns out Molly was never at boarding school, but except with a band playing in different areas. And he sees all the letters, and even finds one from Doc Brown, who says, "Molly, you are a sight for sore eyes, even if your visit was decades by years. I gotta say, reading your letters, I felt a strange connection to you, even if we've never met before." "That's because we have met, Marty. In a manner of speaking, another you in another time and place." And so Marty finds it a bit weird, and the German doctor's like, "Vertanen, your visit to know if Dr. Elliot Brown has the visitor. This attention is Marty McFly." And so, pretty much, Biff has managed to get the time machine back, and even has Doc Brown threatening to kill Marty or anyone else important to him, and they take him back to his place, where he's planned to use the time machine. And Biff has a plan to go back to 1996 and get all the mags from there. And Doc is like, "Great Scott! With that information, you'll control the stock market and the winners and losers." "Oh, you're not going, I am. I conned you to make sure you wouldn't sabotage the machine. After all, I can't have you go to 1996 and buy a gun and come back shooting me." And so Doc Brown has to do it, and even has an idea to make Biff disguise himself, and even has him go back in time, and Biff is sent back to the future, where he's like, "Well, we've waited. How about a trivia game? Who knows what happened in Hill Valley on March 18th, 1884? And so it turns out Biff is so stupid that he doesn't realise Doc tricked him. He's like, "What the? This can't have been that in 1996. Oh, Manure, I'm gonna kill you, Doc Brown." And so we hear a voice saying, "What in the stink hell are you wearing, Finhorn? You some kind of circus clown?" And it's Mad Dog Tannen. And he's like, "It's you! It's really you! You're Mad Dog Tannen! Nobody calls me Mad Dog. I hate that name! I hate it! You get up. And don't fool me, neither that Creole brother that got away. Just stand still, I'm gonna take a great shot of you. Wrong, horsefly. In this town, I'll take the shots. And so, in a way, Mad Dog is the hero. And so, after 4 hours, Biff is returned but got shot down. And Biff's enforcers are like, boss, wake up. And so, turns out Doc didn't kill them, but used a defense purpose, which could have easily been used for the second film. And in the end, they're like, not by a long shot. So he didn't think of anything? And so, by the end, Biff has been killed, and now everything is back to normal. Everyone shows up to Biff's funeral to make sure he's dead. Mayor Goldie is now made president again, and Marty's mum, Lorraine, and the others will make sure Hill Valley is good again, and brought back to what it should be. And so, this is the end of a perfectly good series. So what I think, it's kind of weird that they kind of altered it in a way. I was expecting the 6th issue to play much out like the second film. So I give this a thumbs in the middle. I think they could have still used some of the elements from the second film, and the series in general, a good thumbs up. Still good, and that it's done alright. So this is the final review of Biff to the Future. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.